No one should forget that before the current crisis, before the insurrection of May 2008, before the presidential succession crisis and the lockout of Parliament, Hezbollah and its Iranian and Syrian allies engaged in a campaign of assassinations against Lebanese parliamentarians and journalists that began in 2005 with the murder of former Prime Minister Rafiq Hariri. Long before the recent backroom coup, Hezbollah set itself above the law and outside the reach of the government. Hezbollah has for years systematically weakened Lebanon's government and continually undermined Lebanon's sovereignty. It has made Lebanon a regional time bomb by developing more than 40,000 Syrian and Iranian artillery rockets and advanced surface-to-surface missiles, all aimed at Israel, and all in order to shield Iran's illicit nuclear weapons program. Tragically, the people of Lebanon are now hostages. Like the captive nations of Eastern Europe during the Cold War, their hearts are free, but their government has colluded with a foreign power to put them in chains. The United States must continue to advocate for Lebanon's sovereignty and for the restoration of a legitimate government. We must continue to support and sustain the Special Tribunal for Lebanon and keep faith with all of the Lebanese people who want justice for their murdered countrymen and their former Prime Minister. America must continue to insist on the implementation of all relevant UN Security Council resolutions, and we must speak out clearly against the flood of illegal and destabilizing Syrian and Iranian arms going into Lebanon. And finally, we need to be clear with the government of Lebanon that it bears the burden of demonstrating that it truly serves the people of Lebanon, and that it will keep peace inside Lebanon and on Lebanon's borders, and that it is not and will not either be a flunky for the Ayatollahs in Tehran or for the dictator in Damascus.
Based on your experience and developments that you're seeing occurring right now, do you see Egypt continuing to play a positive role on issues in general, regional stability, for example, opposition to Iran's nuclear program, standing up to Islamic radicalism, etc.?
I would have every reason to expect that a more democratic Egypt would be at least as much committed to those principles, because in a democratic society, all the things that you've talked about are inimical to a democratic society. And so the kind of intolerance, the support for terrorism, and the things that we would be concerned about are something that a strong and vibrant democratic government in Egypt would also share. So I think we believe very strongly that in terms of these interests, whether it's sustaining peace in the Middle East, dealing with terrorism, dealing with Iran's nuclear program, that an open, vibrant Egyptian government would be very much in sync with those views and those perspectives.